they literally build a football arena within a day. The kids come back the next day and see a big football arena, and then they're going to have the family tournament. Or football game tournament. Well, what happens was they have the football game, and while this is going on, the CEO boss, a real one, tries to get his wife to play better on football, and that fails miserably. But during the game, she catches a long catch and makes the tying point. I forget who won the match, but I think what happened later is the temporary CEO explained what happened, and they missed the shipment. And the guy said, you know what, I'm not mad at you. You tried, you did effort, and it didn't pay off, but we'll get it. Don't worry about it. Which was really cool of him. But it also illustrates the dangers of going into business with family. Such as the previous episode, he was about to fire everyone, and in this episode, the job didn't get done by someone who wasn't qualified to do the job. 2 strikes kind of their thing. So it's kind of a weird situation you're in. So the third episode, which I'm going to touch on briefly, talks about a big order that one of the main sporting companies wants, and they want to go up to order 10-fold, t-shirts, videos, everything. So he comes back, the CEO guy, Willie, I think, goes up, tells all of his brothers, you all, and his friends and employees, you need to get production. And then he tries this word like synergy. Now, the thing is, I've been on the receiving end of this, and I've seen, like, when someone tries to be, like, super management and using fancy words, and everyone's kind of looking at each other going, what the huh? You know, and they're like, oh, you must be inspired to work hard. And they're looking at each other like, what's going on with him? You know, what if we're not going to be able to do this? So these guys, and they're left alone, and in their incredible wisdom, they think, redneck, how can they do it? They build a conveyor belt out of a Chevrolet, some boards, and I guess some coverings, and they build the stand, and it actually worked. It was a neat idea. It really worked for a while. But then they start goofing off, which then ticked off the CEO. And it's just kind of the culmination of the stuff. For example, in the very beginning of this episode, the CEO picked up the father in a helicopter because he knew where he'd be, but they had a big meeting they had to go to, and it's just so redneck. It's so funny. And it's like a lot of their wives are really cute, but during the whole thing, they're like, no, you can't date pretty girls. You gotta date ugly girls because they have to cook. and it's like, and you know what? If they can cook and they're pretty, that's a double plus. You better marry that woman. It's like, it's such hypocrites. Except for the dad. The dad's like, he married his wife for like love of the food and her cooking. The other guys are like, I got money, I'm getting hot women, you know. And it was really funny. But anyway, so they got this huge order, 10-fold, and everyone is like not there. Everyone's not, or trying to participate, but their own redneck way, and it's just making this guy's life living hell because they got to make this order. So the final solution is that the mom or his grandmother said, in situations like this, we call the neighborhood together to get things done, and I cook a big pig and everyone shows up and eats, and then we work hard. Well, at the end of the episode, they bring the pig out, they get everyone working hard, everybody's happy, you know, life ends and everyone's good, you know? And that's really cool. And that's all I could really stomach on that. But there's some really valuable points I think this whole series makes. One, going into business with family means you're going to have to face a possibility, whoever the owner is that you may have to fire that member because they're abusing you, or you're abusing your trust. At work, business is business, and you can't mess around with that with anyone. Because then you're insulting not only the person who's working for the company, but you're insulting everybody else working there. Sorry. The second issue is a family. And they're really strong on their family bond, which is really cool, honor, integrity, and all that. But at the same time, it's like too much. It's like super family, super cut off. I know they're kind of rednecky and all that, but really it's cut off kind of hard, and I question if that's really appropriate. But at the same time, their kids are rich kids. Like, these kids are 15 years old showing up in a Jeep Wrangler. And my first car was a 65 Dodge with an 8-cylinder engine with 3 cylinders working. I mean, they gotta learn somewhere. And that's kind of what you're dealing with. And that's what the grandfather, the dad, is like, we got to get it through these kids, so this, get away from these cell phones, get away from that, learn to live off the land, and to be happier. But at the same time, and I'm not kidding you, one of the scenes, the mom's like, has something in her hand. It's not a beer can, it's a squirrel, and it's a skinned squirrel. She's like, I'm going to put this in a pot. And she's shaking it, and I didn't recognize it until she said it was a skinned squirrel. It's like, oh, you're kidding me. She's cooking squirrel. Which actually I've heard is pretty good. But she throws it in the pot, and the old man comes, eats some, and they're like, we're going to eat some. So then they go back out to hunt, and then the mom tells the young kid, his name is John Luke, which is his son, says, you have to bring home the kill or you're not a man. Which is a hunter terminology is acceptable, because what it goes back to the Spartans saying, where it says, "Come back with your shield or come back on it," and which means you're either come back victorious or die like a man, die like a Spartan. That's what that whole message is really all about, and they really stress that a lot. But it's too much, because then you run into that possibility you gotta fire people because they take advantage of you. Yeah, they are pretty, and man, they're wearing it's like, I don't think their wardrobe exceeds camouflage. I think the CEO guy had a suit on, but no one really else. Oh, and another thing, they're telling rednecks during this episode, you gotta wear name tags in case people come in here. What? These are your brothers? You're telling them you gotta wear freaking name tags and just cover what? Cutting a whistle? These are your bread and butter, and you're telling them they gotta do 10 times as much work at the same salary, and then wear name tags. Bull. That's someone's reading management 101, not thinking intelligently. But that's another whole story. But anyway, the way it ends in the last episode is they make the order, the community came forward, they had a big field, and they said sometimes you always got to go back to the basics, which that's what the old grandfather was preaching the whole time. So overall, for the 3 episodes I saw, it definitely 8.5, 9. Because there was some funny moments, and just hearing them talk like, you better get on that frog! And the funniest line is kind of the cruelest, but the funniest line. The old man is sitting there, and he's dissecting the frog, and he goes down here, he's just like that. And the son, it's either his son or his grandson, looks at him and says, what was that sound? It's all, my boy, that was the sound of a bullfrog getting his head severed. Which was kind of jacked, but at the same time funny, because in his world this is normal, because it's food. And that's where some people don't understand. I think that's where, like, how could you be so cruel to beavers? Well, I could say, how could you be cruel to rabbits in the wine country? And that's just because they're destructive. And there's pests, and it's not just that. It's not just squirrels. Squirrels are destructive too in those areas. It goes on and on and on. But that's just reality about it. That's time. As far as a show, yeah. But for California, yeah, I don't see anything like that out here. Anyway, this is Dinosaur. I hope you enjoyed it. That's it for now, and I'll just talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.